the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill, and I am a CGI render of my younger self.
And I'm John Gilardi, and I already miss Grogu, little Baby Yoda, the child, the kid, wherever you want to call him.
The child is not Baby Yoda.
I know. It's still stuck.
It's still stuck.
Disney's like, no, it's the child.
It is the child.
And then they even gave him a name, and it's still Baby Yoda.
No, it's Baby Yoda, though, guys.
Yeah.
No, but it does, I don't know, names are important to me, so it's no, that it's not Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
So
I read the room, and I say what people understand.
Yeah, and it's also are you willing to really die on that hill? Be like, no, guys.
Yeah.
How dare you?
It's Grogu.
It's Grogu now. We know this. But yes, today we are going to be talking about The Mandalorian.
Season 2.
The
Disney Plus phenomenon.
That is, is it, and maybe we can just start right here.
Yeah.
Does The Mandalorian make you appreciate the sequel trilogy more?
No.
Okay.
It's completely different. It's made for a love of Star Wars and the source material and good writing, and things are earned.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the first two sequel trilogies would meet. I think The Rise of Skywalker is Reddit stupid fan theories, just Hollywood blockbuster bullshit, where The Mandalorian, is full of cameos and fan service and all that bullshit, but it
feels earned, though.
It feels earned, and it feels fine. Everything about it, it's like the Star Wars universe it's a huge universe. Why does it always have to feel small? Why does everything always have to be connected?
Yeah.
And the story is connected because this Mandalorian happened to find this little Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he runs into these people and all this stuff. And he's a Mandalorian, and that's why he runs into Bo-Katan, the leader trying to fix Mandalore. So it's all these things make sense. They're all earned.
I love too that I'll just jump in here for a second. Is I love too that that the cameos are cameos, and it's a little bit about it's still in service of Mando's journey.
Yeah.
It's he runs into Bo-Katan, and they have a little thing. It's kind of like how you do in a video game.
Yeah.
Where you're oh yeah, I recognize this person, and then you do a little mission with them, and then you're all right, I'm gonna fuck off and do my stuff now.
Yeah. I mean, it's very serial, episodic, kind of Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I like. Even, a lot of people, want episodes building towards an overarching story. So an episode like the frog episode, maybe a lot of people would pass at.
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably one of the weaker ones in the season. But even that, I just like that, goofy kind of, that's Star Wars. It's not this serious kind of lore dump, it's fun aliens in space. And I normally hate spiders in media. Not as they don't scare me. If I have to say a critter that does, it'd be a snake.
Okay.
But spiders don't bother me. But the way that was one of my favorite kind of.
Why do they bother you in media?
They don't bother me. They're boring to me, I guess.
Okay.
Rather, and that bothers me because they're used so often.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings. I can hate the spiders things. That's just boring to me. I hate fighting them in video games. I hated them, and even in Harry Potter, just boring creatures, boring plot devices.
Huh.
For me.
Huh.
But I like the spider thingies, and that scene.
The ice cave.
Yeah, where they and they're on their final readout, they're holding off and they're coming in. It's just that was an awesome moment, and I think that gets shrouded and forgotten because it's in an episode with the frog lady.
Yeah.
But that moment of Alamo last resort kind of stuff, so good. And what I liked most about it was that it kind of set up the motif of X-Wings coming to save the day, which we can get into later.
We'll get into that. I think that that's one of the things that I think is, that it all serves. Even what was the other episode in the last one where it was the sanctuary or something like that, where it was the The water one where he meets. I think he meets the stormtrooper where there was like the baby and he took his helmet off to eat, and there was the lady there who was
the first episode.
Was it the first episode?
I
or
mean,
was
the first season, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Bryce Dallas Howard's episode.
Yeah. But like people were like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But I think that it serves to give the Mandalorian like, I care about this child more than as he's trying to figure out his thing, you know, and then also gives him an opportunity to do something good.
Yeah.
You know, and like
because that comes after he rescues him from the DNA scientist geneticist. So it's like
Dr. Pershing.
Yes, exactly. So it's like it's a good moment of character building of the relationship. You know? Like that establishment that they're partners to whatever end they don't know yet. I think. Yeah.
I just like that. That's one of the things that I like about The Mandalorian is that it's all connected for The Mandalorian. Like it's his story, but it's not just like life. It's not as straight a line as it is a movie because they have the benefit of having
episodic nature.
8 episodes that they can fuck around with.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why would we tell, like, let's see all the cool things. And the episode the last time where they met Bill Burr.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite episodes,
That episode was so good. And, like, Bill Burr's character is so good. Like, in terms of, and, like, the pain and the strain on his face and the hate he has for the Empire or sections of the Empire and the Operation Cinder, which essentially was like a kind of a culling of the Empire by Palpatine to like kind of start from the ashes his final order.
Yeah.
But it's just so good, and the way he like respects Din Djarin's or whatever his name is, the Mando's like mask thing, and doesn't like tell anyone, and he doesn't make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Like to me it was just such a nice thing, and like he didn't owe him anything, like, and he like the fact that like he could have gone just back to jail. And I think that I don't think he did it to like win a favor with Din. I think he was, I don't know, he was being a respectful guy, I guess, which was interesting. And I bought it in a sense, and I think then that made his freedom like earned. But just the fact that he's like, all right, well, we're gonna leave you here on this kind of
on this planet that we just blew the shit up on.
Yeah, we blew up all the technology here, so you're stuck with the natives.
who were pirates who tried to kill you. So it's like, I guess you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I would have liked to see him be like, I don't know. I could see it either way, where it's like, you know, we're gonna leave you here because that's the easiest thing for us to do, because then we have to like figure out the logistics of like, do we get you a new identity or do we get you a blah blah blah? But I would have liked to see him go with them and because I was getting hyped. Yeah. You know, because at that point,
I thought they were building a dream team.
Yeah, they did. They had like I was like, damn, this is a fucking crew.
Yeah.
We got Fennec.
And Boba Fett.
Oh my god, dude, I cannot.
That's a whole thing.
We can. And
we haven't even touched on Ahsoka yet.
Well, so you watched the Clone Wars
and Rebels.
You're our resident deep lore guy. How did that feel to you? Because to me, you know, that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not as well versed. The only exposure I have to the Clone Wars is what you've told me.
Yeah.
And then like the little clips where I feel like I've seen the whole thing, like essentially like on Instagram or like stuff where it's like I've watched or I've seen like essentially like the comic book version of it, where it's like I've seen like
Sparknose.
Yeah, I've seen like the important moments. I feel like her leaving the Jedi Temple and like that stuff.
I mean, I thought Rosario Dawson crushed it. She killed it. I wanted to see more of her, so I'm really happy to see that she's going to get her own show, which is awesome. And I think Ahsoka already was one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, but that's just cemented it. Like she's such a good character at like her whole kind of pillar or anchor. What do they call it in Westworld? The center. Like the anchor, I don't know I forgot what it is.
I'm not.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Cornerstone?
Maybe.
I don't know, but like the
Keystone?
maybe like the core of her being is she just wants to help people.
Yeah.
If she sees people and she helps people in need. She helps them. You know, you have Superman and Captain America, who are those character archetypes who are boring. Like they kind of only do what's right. But I think Ahsoka's good because she does have maybe because it's the Jedi training in her, where she tries to hold back from compassion or involvement in entanglement, but she still helps. So there's always an interesting development in her storylines and how she helps people, and that's why she's there. She's there to learn about where Thrawn is, Admiral Thrawn, but in the process, she helps free these people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the Ahsoka kind of. It's kind of atypical that you see in that episode, but Rosario Dawson did such a good job.
But I think that in itself is like such the microcosm is like she's doing her own thing and the Mandalorian happens to be there.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, I was like this. Yeah. Like we just get to touch on a little bit of these stories and we stay with that's why I think that it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was because Ahsoka's such a like perky, jubilant kind of person, but she's gone through shit. So it was good to see her played as like this reserved, but still kind of has that liveliness in there that Ahsoka has. And you see that Ahsoka in Rebels, which one of my favorite Star Wars lightsaber battles of all time is Vader versus Ahsoka.
Yeah,
in Rebels.
I've seen the pictures of that. Where it's like, he's got his mask like cracked and stuff.
And we got Hayden Christensen coming back.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan.
It's so funny the transition from like in 2005, everyone was like, man, prequel trilogies kind of suck, dude. Yeah. Fuck this prequel trilogy, man. This is not what I wanted. And now we get farther and farther away from it, and it's like, damn, that was pretty fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
And then especially with like after the sequel trilogy where it's like
Yeah, I see that. It could have happened with the sequel trilogy, but the third one just ruined it. Yeah. And even if you like the third one, it got rid of all continuity.
Yeah.
Or flow. So it's like you can't look at it as a whole, where say what you will about the prequels, but they're consistent.
They are.
All throughout.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they've aged well enough, is that the supplementary lore and the Clone Wars and the video games and just comic books. It's even just your memory of it. It's consistent. That's what's helped in it aging well. And it was also like goes back to the thing that I feel like we've said, because we were always going to go back to Rises. We're going to talk about it. It was going to happen. We're talking about Star Wars stuff here, I completely lost my train of thought because Bill Burr just blew up the thing in the background, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, that's cool as shit." With the lack of continuity between directors and people at the top, when they punted on their plan to have Colin Trevorrow direct the third one, and it's really frustrating. And again, I feel like we've already talked about this, but it's real fucking frustrating seeing his like storyboards. And yeah, there's like issues and stuff with it because there's storyboards. Yeah. But it's like that's a much more interesting story and a much more interesting cap off than all the ships showing up out of nowhere. Yeah. It's just like, but it's like that was stupid. I don't think that's the thing that in some ways how good the Mandalorian is, and like how concise and fun it makes the world. Like it can definitely connects up to that first feeling of whenever you're watching A New Hope for the first time, and Luke goes to the station. Oh my gosh, what is it? Or Mos Eisley? Yeah, Mos Eisley, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Look at this big world. Look at all this stuff that's just happening. And these people that are here that live in this world and all these different aliens that are doing their stuff. Yeah. And all these different, things. That's the underbelly of the Star Wars, like the cantina. And, have that in the first season a lot with that planet, the hub world for the bounty hunters. Yeah. And you have that here in some amount. You have the Quarian Amon Calamari home planet. So there's a cantina scene there where he's eating that gruel. And I saw a meme. The chowder, right? Or isn't it like little things inside that the Baby Yoda's trying to eat? Yeah. But there's one of the sweaters, the main guy that was cleaning or that was fixing the Razor Crest, he was wearing like a sweater from like Belk or something. Like someone had a picture of the Belk catalog of some woman wearing the sweater, and then it had the Monk Owl with the same exact sweater. Just thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many moments we still haven't touched. I mean, going all the way back to the beginning with Cobb Vanth, with Timothy Olyphant.
You were about to say Timothy Chalamet.
I was.
That'd be a completely different. Like, can you see him taking off his hat, and it's like just like really like sexy young guy with like he looks like a Tim Burton character, like come to life. His face is so chiseled with stuff, and it's like, oh, okay.
He was such a good
Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, he was so good because he had like his silhouette and swagger was clearly not Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So that was so important. Like it just looked off right away. I knew Cobb Vanth was going to be there, but I think a lot of mainstream.
Some people didn't know, like me. Like it's like it's like oh, but even just seeing his armor again is like oh shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's definitely.
It's just I don't know.
So yeah, from the beginning, Cobb Vanth, like we hit our thing where we have like sort of our everything goes back to like the Western roots where it's like hey,
it's like a Western, and it's the city even has the Western vibes. It's like the one main street through it, and the townspeople, and you have the lone wanderer type guy comes to rescue them via the Marshal, and then also again through the Mandalorian, and then you have this cool storyline being explored with the Tuscan Raiders and this truce.
Yeah,
and you get to see their kind of technology and a little bit of their culture, and how they're feeding the dragon. I forgot what the kind of dragon's
called. The crate
dragon.
Yeah,
the crate dragon. They're feeding it banthas every now and then, so it stays
placated.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like them treating it like a entity or a god.
Yeah,
I don't think they do. I think they're a little bit more pragmatic, but like it's just like it's just such good world building and just cool way to explore these creatures that we've seen literally since the first 20 minutes or whatever of A New Hope.
Oh, you're talking about the Tuscan Raiders?
Yeah.
That was the cool thing. That was a nice thing to get to see, and that's why even in the episode with the this one where they came back and they're fighting off the pirates in episode 7.
Yeah.
And all the other stormtroopers are like, "Hey man, great fucking job." They're like clapping, be like, "You guys, wow."
The Empire coming to the rescue is such a fun dynamic.
Yeah.
And like you kind of see the guys cheering and the excitement there.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But it's like then you remember it's like those are people inside them.
Yeah.
And they have like the same with the Tuscan Raiders, like having to be like, "Hey, don't just shoot them."
Yeah.
They can help.
It's like turning the red shirts into humans. And even like in the hangar after they bring the explosive material back in, there's just like it's just average people like crewmen. Like there's like average looking just 55-year-old lady just like looks like anyone's like mother or grandmother.
Yeah,
just walking around. She got obliterated that thing because of Bill Burr. But it's such an interesting like kind of humanizes them, but then it also it's like nah. I mean they're humans, but they're still cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Or it kind of like takes a look at maybe violence and I don't think they're looking at it that deep, but you could definitely make a case and analyze it in that sense.
There's a reason they still keep their helmets on whenever they get blasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is just I always think that's interesting to when you humanize the just the people that are there, because everybody thinks like the people who are in the Stormtrooper, they're just like maybe that's how they get to college, Yeah. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, oh, they get to college, they get to you're a Stormtrooper for 5 years now, and or maybe like the pilots in the beginning of the 8th episode, they're like really bought in and they're like really vicious people.
Yeah.
But there's
like I think it's a simplification of storytelling for big stories to share with a lot of people. But the Empire, is an extension of people in power for control and order, and that which isn't inherently evil. It's just controlling and fascist. But the people that are controlled and living in this world aren't inherently evil. It's not like some everyone's like a fucking SS like Gestapo Nazis, you know, in the sense of the Star Wars world. They're just they're subjects in this empire.
Yeah.
Obviously the leaderships, they're evil dickheads, but
well, it's funny too because I over this sort of little break, I recently rewatched the sort of off topic, but also not really. But I rewatched the theatrical cuts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh yeah.
And I was like watching it, and I was like, "Wow, what does Sauron want?" So I like looked it up, and it's like essentially, you know, it's just he's like a god. So it's like he's like again like Palpatine, where he's like a god, and he wants order, and he basically needs to control this world so he can move on to the next one and do his thing. That's not completely right, people, you know, but
yeah, don't come at me.
That's a simplification of it. I think I'm finally ready to read the Silmarillion.
Oh yeah, I want to get into that.
But
people always say those books are like challenging, and I'm not like a bookworm or like I wouldn't call myself.
The Silmarillion is challenging.
Yeah, I bet that is. But like, I read The Hobbit and I read The Fellowship, and they were like good, easy reads. Maybe it's because I'm so familiar with the movie.
Yeah.
Well, The Hobbit I hadn't seen then or wasn't out then, but
I think The Hobbit is a fun book.
Yeah, The Hobbit's a fun book. This movie, we should probably watch those movies. That'll be an interesting one to jump into. So episode 2, I think, is
episode 1's the Marshal.
Yeah, which was great.
2 and 3, and that was interesting. Where the 2 is the Frog Lady.
Yeah,
she goes back and connects up with Amy Sedaris, and there's a thing.
Yep.
And then he takes off with the Frog Lady, and then they get trapped. And so we have like, I think that's not the first time, but it's close to the first, or it's unusual where it's like we end one episode and then we pick right back up at the end of another episode or at the beginning of the next episode, which is
it happens sometimes, but for the beginning of this, I mean, I guess it happened in the beginning of the season last time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, because he found the child and then he's traveling with him, and
yeah.
The kid's trying to like force heal him or something.
Oh yeah.
And he just keeps putting him away in the egg. Then the third episode was the Mon Cal one with the Bo-Katan reveal.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good episode for the fact that it showed like his kind of fatherliness, like, oh, the kid, I'll do anything for him, and like when he gets thrown in the brig with the monster. And I think that the revealing of other Mandalorians and the fact they take their helmets off really paints Din. It's like, wait, is he a fanatic? Like, is he part of a cult? Like, what's going on here? A little bit,
yeah.
And it makes you really wonder about him, and it makes him wonder, and he's like, wait.
Because that's all he knew.
Yeah,
you know.
And so that was just a really cool character building thing, and I didn't see a lot of people look at it that way or analyze or share that thing, but like, I think that was super cool and super interesting to like paint our protagonist as kind of a culty, backwards thinking kind of guy.
Well, and it's interesting too because it's the same. It's like it's like a reflection of people in the Empire where they do the stuff that's in the Empire because that's how they were told and that's what they were taught. And so he keeps his helmet on because that's what he was taught.
Yeah.
And that's all he knows. That's what he knows about the thing. And then he meets these 3 or these 2 like traditional Mandalorians or whatever like that, or maybe from the ruling class, that kind of gives us the sense that there's like just making the world broader and that there's not like there's not one A or it's like not so simple of a like Mandalorians don't take their helmets off. It's like, no, there's variations within all themes.
Yeah. And I think because that was a big confusing thing, was it's like the Clone Wars are canon and they're fucking ripping their masks off all the time.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, I wasn't too worried about it in terms of lore, but it was satisfying and a really earned and good way for them to be like, no, this is why he has his mask on.
Yeah.
You know, like we're the lore we built, it's canon still. Like we're not going back. We're not retconning shit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good. And a fun fact, the voice actor for Bo-Katan is the actor for Bo-Katan live action.
Sackhoff.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool that they brought her in. Obviously, I think it's Ashley Eckstein or Eckstein, something like that.
Yeah.
She's obviously not Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
But she did a great job. She sounded like Ahsoka.
Well, it's just, and I think too, then we have like the Boba Fett,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is that
Bringing
the
him
4th
back.
episode? Was it the 4th episode or the 5th episode?
He was right after.
Because we saw him.
We saw him in the first episode.
Yeah.
But he was revealed in the episode after Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. Like,
oh my
I
gosh.
wish they hadn't revealed him in the first season. I knew, was it Tamura Morrison?
Yeah.
That's his name? I knew he was in this season.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been that great of a reveal. But if he was revealed by just Slave One coming in, because the way that was shot, it was so ghostly. Yeah. And we're in this like Jedi planet, and it's just like there's a lot of like assumingly mystical energy, and like we're in a Jedi planet. Like maybe he came through a wormhole. Like what's going on? Why am I seeing Boba Fett?
Like, well, who's got his ship?
Yeah, it was just like such a specter just going through the sky. It was so cool. And I think that would have been a cool reveal instead of the little thing. And I get they did in season 1 for the tweets and the buzz and that shit. Like, oh my God, did you see the ending? Like, and then it made it made people watch the first episode in full for retention. And like, I get the technicality of it.
I wonder if it would be possible to, like, if all we knew was that the season 2 of Mandalorian was coming out. Like, if it would be possible, and I'm
the castings.
Like, I don't know, because I feel kind of the same way with the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out, where they're like, it's a multiverse, and it's like, it'd be really cool is if I just knew that they were filming Spider-Man 3 or whatever.
It just happened.
And then it was like, I go to watch the movie, and it's like, is that fucking Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, for me, like...
The Luke Skywalker reveal?
That's what I'm fucking saying. It's like, I was like, oh, yeah. And in my brain, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, that would be too hard, and that'd be too close to the real thing, and, like, it's going to be, like, Ezra or... I don't fucking know.
Mace Windu is being thrown around. Oh, Cal Kestis,
yeah. But that's also the wrong time period. He would be a much older man by now.
Yeah, but that would be random.
Yeah, and plus they need him to have he needs to be a video game character.
Yeah,
I mean, and they'll bring it, but he needs to have more anyway. But it's like
there's other stories that they can bring him in. I'm sure later down the line.
Like talking about like seeing Boba Fett, like.
When he gets his armor back on.
Oh my God.
That's so badass. And like the
I was emotional.
Yeah. It was cool.
I was emotional. I was like, I didn't know. And again, I didn't know that I would be I was watching Boba Fett slam those guys around and do his Boba Fett shit. And I was like, why am I crying right now? Why is this so cool?
The Mandalorian armor has spoken and been badass to people for nearly 40, almost 50 years now. Yeah. And it's the armor and the character and the bounty hunter and all that shit's so fucking badass, even though we've never seen him do anything badass. So the fact that we finally saw him do badass shit.
Yeah.
It was just like, yes, it was cool, even though he was a little fat, but
whatever.
It was still awesome. And then when he cleans up his armor and he's like an awesome support character, and I'm glad they didn't make it about him after that point.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's there fulfilling his oath. And I think and they didn't paint him like, because obviously he's a bounty hunter. He was on the bad guy side, but he was being paid.
Yeah, he's not a Deus Ex Machina coming in here, and he's not like, he was being paid. He's doing the thing, you know? And also, can you imagine how confusing it would be if your dad worked for those guys and your dad like was the donor for all the clones?
Yeah.
Then of course you're going to go with those guys. Like those are going to be the people that you trust.
Well, he was on the Confederation of Independent Systems, was who his dad was with originally. But his dad gave DNA to the enemy that made the army against his employer. Like it's a little kind of crazy with.
Yeah.
But it's all due to Palpatine's plot.
But if that's what you knew, you know, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, and then you get swallowed by the Sarlacc, and you have some time to think about stuff, and you're like,
just floating around
thinking, be like, how am I get out of here? Okay, not this cycle. All right. What am I? I'm not dead. What am I gonna do? Like, what is good? Like, why do I care? What is good and evil? Why don't I just do what is best for me and for the nice people that I know?
Yeah.
You know?
And then he just, obviously, his purpose with his armor just becomes what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And when he gets that, I mean, I guess we'll see in the book of Boba Fett, where we can skip ahead to that with the end credit scene, is that he goes and kills the, I forget his name, Fortuna, I think, something Fortuna
maybe.
is his name.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Fortuna.
He's the dude with the neck hair.
Yeah, the neck frills, and that guy scared the fuck out of me as a kid when I watched Return of the Jedi.
His face.
Yeah, terrified me. But Boba comes into the Jabba's palace, kills Fortuna, whatever his name is.
Who's become a Fett, sort of?
Yeah, becomes a crime syndicate lord, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I guess he filled in after the power vacuum. And then Boba Fett sits on the throne, and Fennec has like a beer or something, and she's chugging it. She's not chugging it, but she's like, it's just like this like kind of portrait shot.
Yeah.
And it's like the book of
Boba.
Boba.
She picks up a gun too.
Yeah.
She like throws a gun over her shoulder.
And it's like the book of Boba Fett will be here 2021.
Yeah.
December 2021.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, we're gonna get more Boba Fett. I think it'll be a mini series, one season. And yeah, I guess as we're talking about his motives and being a good guy or bad guy or mercenary or where his childhood influence came from, I think it'll be cool to see where he goes.
Yeah.
Even if he is just a crime lord, or maybe he's trying to, I don't know what the hell he's going to be trying to do.
Now that he's able to, kind of live his shit, live his life.
Yeah, he can finally live his life.
Like, he's finally free too. He's free from the Empire, and maybe that can be that'll be part of it. Maybe they're like, hey, Boba Fett's back. We've got to collect some stuff for, I don't know. It'd be funny to see. It'd be funny if he ran into Luke. I mean, he won't because they had a CGI person.
I think Sebastian Stan could be a good Luke.
He should. I mean, so let's talk about that now. Where it's like,
before we get to Luke, I think something of a Disney property and stuff is like, you have Bo-Katan, you have her friend, the other Mandalorian girl, you have Fennec, and you have Gina Carano. What's her character's name? I'm blanking.
Maul or something?
It's gonna piss me off.
And
whatever. Gina, you have the four women, badass characters, and it's just like they're doing their moment, like it's like they're kicking ass, and it's they're all women characters, cool, and they're just strong characters who the story put them in that circumstance, and it was Cara Dune is her name.
Cara Dune.
It's just the circumstances put him in this position. Like Boba's the wheelman, so he's flying. Din's doing his own plan, and then the rest of the characters are women, and they're doing their badass shit. And it's like cool characters doing badass shit, but it's also really cool that they're all women.
I'll be honest.
You didn't think about that.
I didn't even think about it.
Which is exactly, I think that's the right way to do it. Where the worst way to do it is Endgame.
Yeah.
When you have Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, struggling, and then all the women on the battlefield come and woman power band and save. Like that was just bad. It was
an interesting move.
Yeah.
Like
a good way to have done it is maybe Captain Marvel is going to take the mantle of a leader, or maybe there's some power dynamic, or maybe there's some struggle earlier. Maybe she was having an argument with Iron Man or something.
Yeah.
And Iron Man helps her in the struggle, or someone she was having a difference with helped her in that moment. But just
putting
females
everybody
of
there.
Females of Marvel assemble, and I don't know. It's a
cool.
An Endgame? You thought it was cool?
I know. I don't want to. It's not good. It's like feels forced, but it feels like if. Who am I to say as a 28-year-old dude? If like a little 8-year-old girl saw that.
Yeah, I think people thought it was awesome and good for them, and I'm glad people. I'm sure people liked it, and I'm happy they did.
Yeah, I mean, this is and it's funny that you pointed out. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, these fucking, like you're saying, like the badass characters just doing their badass thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, Yeah, that's like a much more satisfying way of doing it.
Yeah.
I guess
just it's frustrating on a sense of it's such a minor moment. But like Marvel and then this, like Jon Favreau started the whole thing almost himself. Like he's so good at crafting fan service, but that's earned and makes sense and you kind of navigate towards that moment in a natural way. So it's just jarring in terms of Endgame.
Oh, one of the things I want to talk about that I really liked is like whenever when they're beating the shit out of the stormtroopers, like Boba Fett is like smashing them.
Yeah.
The replacement of like viscera and like gore
with the armor
shattering and stuff. That. I was like, that's cool as shit.
That
like,
was in Force Awakens in little amounts.
Yeah. And I
thought it was great.
And I think that it's a really cool like replacement gore.
Yeah.
You know, or like be like, hey, this is because you get to see the impact of things.
Yeah, instead of just robots.
Yeah.
And I think that also built into a little bit of the story where Din is wearing the Sand Trooper armor on the train heist with the pirates, and you can tell how much he relies on his armor for blocking and armor, and the trooper armor he has just shatters under his arm.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's cool.
This is a cool
and
moment.
The Dark Troopers, like it just shows how strong Beskar is because they're, I think, made with Beskar components. And then Din's wearing the Beskar helmet, and he's just punching his head into like the metal framing of this carrier.
Yeah.
But just seeing how, it establishes so well how dangerous one Dark Trooper is.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
It's like, oh shit.
Also, that's a lot of Beskar that I bet they harvested
from Mandalorian.
Yeah. What?
Oh, you're talking about afterwards.
Yeah, so like Luke comes in and saves the day, and there's just a bunch of Beskar.
Yeah.
From these guys, and I think that's a huge resource.
Were they Beskar?
I believe. Maybe I'm making that
They
up.
might be like, I don't know if it definitely stands up to blaster fire.
Yeah. I love the way they punch. It's so like
it's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, it reminds me of cheesy 80s workout videos.
Yeah.
With the air punching.
Yeah. I love this too where she's like fucking with her gun and she's like, it's fucking, God, what is going on?
She mortars it, which I thought was interesting because that's a way you clear jams on guns.
Huh.
Is you put your hand on the charging handle or whatever it is.
Okay.
And you use that and then you slam in the ground. So you use the force of the ground and your hand on the downward pressure of the bolt and it usually ejects the malfunction. So that was cool. I was like, oh shit. That's like a real way to clear a malfunction, even though it's a laser gun. So
I wonder if
speaking of mortaring, I love that there's a mortar trooper on that battle scene. Like I love how they like bring in like actual military kind of things, and that's done in the Clone Wars all over the place.
Yeah,
because it's Star Wars. It's military.
Yeah,
forces fighting each other.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's I wonder if isn't there some sort of precedent for like Mandalorians fire 2 bullets? Like they fire like the laser bullet and then also a projectile. Like they use projectiles as well. Like there's one of the few people who use projectiles.
I'm sure they do. I can't remember where that would be. Maybe in a book or comic.
Yeah, maybe I made it up.
I mean, it's cool.
I think I read somewhere there's something about Mandalorians utilized projectiles because...
Well, he does... I mean, it vaporizes the Jawas, but he is manually reloading in that like sniper scene in the I think episode 2 or something of season 1.
Who did you think was going to be the savior? The person that connects? The person that Grogu connected with? I mean, now everything is overshadowed by the fact that
I didn't think it was Luke, but again, like the fact it was Luke kind of reset anything, so it's hard for me to put myself back in that position. I didn't think it was Luke. I thought it was gonna be Ahsoka. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, but like I didn't expect Luke. I mean, it's fucking Luke. But when I saw the X-wing come, for a split second, I was like, oh, it's that Canadian actor and Dave Filoni. It's the fucking Resistance Republic, New Republic coming back. Yeah. Okay. But I was like, That's stupid. That's Luke. That's the lone X-wing.
What was like? Because that's the thing is like I saw the X-wing. Like, oh, it's just an X-wing. I was like, get the fuck out. Like I was like by myself. I was like, no way.
I was saying no way over and over and over.
No way. And then he lands. And then it's like as soon as he's got that like the green lightsaber, it's like,
yep,
get out of here.
Well, it's the hallway scene, recreated with Luke against stormtroopers. And it's recreating the scene on the
Rogue One.
On Rogue One, definitely, but also from A New Hope. Only Vader doesn't kick ass in that scene, but he does walk in. It has
yeah.
But it is like a like father, like son, and it's a Star Wars rhyming thing.
Yeah,
which is awesome. And then, I mean, just seeing Luke in action and full power. Like I for one obviously like The Last Jedi Luke, and I think that was important to see him that way.
Yeah. I think it's a good. I think that because
I saw someone say that this was Jedi Knight Luke, and in The Last Jedi is Jedi Master Luke, which I think was a really good way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like I saw people be like, "Yo, this is they're undoing the mistakes of The Last Jedi," and it's like, no, I don't think so. I think that if anything, it.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that up. I think that's bullshit. I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, without a doubt, probably prefer The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Over The Rise of Skywalker. No doubt.
How could you not?
But the people saying that prefer obviously, Rise of Skywalker over Last Jedi.
Which I don't even think is true, because it's like they're like, well, I gotta say this is better because I said The Last Jedi was so bad, so this has to be better, I guess.
Yeah.
Because this is what I wanted. These are the things that I said.
Yeah. They told the story they wanted. They were not being reactionary.
No.
They did not put Luke in to be like, that's how Luke's done. They didn't put Luke in this to show how Luke should be done the right way.
I think
that's not why they did it. That's not why they had him come and rescue. That's not at all. It was storytelling reasons. It was a story they wanted to tell. Because
it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
You know, he's the most powerful Jedi out there right now.
Yeah, and there's a really untapped good source of a potential here with this.
Yeah.
With this being, and he's running a school right now, so it makes
sense. He's trying to get it started. Why would he not? He's trying to reignite the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course he's going to go way out of his way to do the thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just so. I don't know. It was very satisfying. It was not as satisfying to see the CGI face. Mm-hmm. I understand why they would do that because he is such like an iconic character, but it also means that we're probably not going to get a whole lot more of him.
Yeah, that's true.
But because if they had cast like Sebastian Stan or something like that,
that would have meant that there's more in store.
Yeah, but they also, I don't know. It just that was like slightly disappointing. But it was still like, this is Luke, baby.
Yeah,
this is Luke. We get it. He's doing the thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I think
it's so cool.
Well, there's so many things that happen towards the end of this that also build up really well, like the whole Darksaber thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is Din gonna do? Is he gonna be the leader of Mandalore? Is he gonna just take that mantle? Is he just gonna be like, Bo, just fucking take it, dude. I don't give a shit. Everyone here can lie, say you beat him.
Yeah, you know what? Here, punch me in the face.
Yeah.
Punch me in the face. I'll drop it. I don't care. Please take it.
I think
I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the ruler of Mandalore. So
I think that sets up some cool tension, and that was something I pondered at the beginning around the Bo-Katan intro. Is like, I think this story is going to evolve into the Mandalorian becoming a huge figure in the story of Mandalore, the country, the planet, you know, that's been destroyed and beleaguered, and I think Din is going to be almost a Christ-like figure for the Mandalorians down the line. Like, say we jump 500 years in the future of this timeline, and you look at Mandalore, Din's going to be a big deal. He was part of the reshaping of Mandalore and the turnaround, and I think that's where it's going to go.
I think that's solid. I appreciate that. I support that. I think that, I mean, Where do you think it goes from here? As we get to the end of this episode, Luke kicks ass, breaks and makes all of our hearts so happy.
He parts with Grogu. I guess before we guessed season 3, that goodbye was sad. Where
he finally takes his helmet off.
He takes his helmet off
and
and
looks
Grogu,
at him in the eyes.
And they're both crying. It's like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Not me.
And also the rhyming continues. He says, "Don't be afraid."
Yeah.
Which Shmi Skywalker says to Anakin. You know, the rhyming, I think it's more of a paternal kind of rhyming than a father-son parenting kind of thing. But to me, that's when Star Wars is at its best, when it does the rhyming, because that's like good fan service.
Well, it's just good storytelling. It's not even fan service.
Yeah.
And that's like, when you go, that's the most impactful thing, and this is going to be a weird jump, but like when you're doing an improv show.
Yeah.
And, in the first scene you have a scene where you're like, hey, don't forget to bring me cannolis.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end of it, and there you have like someone come in and be like, hey, here are your cannolis. And it's like, everyone's like, I fucking knew.
I remembered that.
I remembered that. That's from earlier.
Yeah.
And that's like,
true.
And so all the connections that they have in Star Wars, it's like, it's that same sort of thing where it's like, it's not like, hey, here we are remembering. It's like, hey, this is something that just happens to connect up. It's very satisfying.
Yeah. And I think it builds such a strong, and he says, I will see you again too, which I think they'll follow up on.
Yeah.
Which did Anakin said that too. Yeah. He said to his mom, I'm going to come back and I'll free you.
Yeah.
Which he does. Well, no, he doesn't. He frees her from captivity in a different sense, but she's already a free woman at that point. But the fact that he said, "I'll see you again," and the movie, the show, the story did that. We saw them again. So I think we'll see Grogu again.
Yeah.
But to what capacity? And I think.
And then why?
Yeah, and I think I saw one theory or heard one theory. I don't know. Maybe it would have been someone I was talking to directly. But it was just like, what if Luke calls in Mando to pick up Grogu, or Grogu gets picked up or rescued in the aftermath of Ben Solo's stuff.
That would be 19 years in the future?
Yeah. And so that's my personal theory before I even heard that was, I'm calling it in my head. I think episode 1, season 3 will take place in the cockpit. The immediate aftermath of like, shit, so what now? What are we going to do about the Darksaber situation? Yeah. And then we're going to, like the way the Viking TV series does it, we're going to time jump and continue the story in 10, 15, 20 years. That's a personal thing.
There's that X-Wing.
Yeah, fuck. The only reason I don't buy that completely, even though it's my theory that I think I'm good about, I'm happy about with, is the Din storyline in Mandalore. I think that's what we're gonna see.
I think that's gonna be. I think that he. Oh man, I think. Part of me doesn't even want to really guess because it's like, fuck it, let it happen, bro.
Oh, I'm all for that.
But I think. I don't know. I definitely think that they're gonna. I think it's gonna be a whole season without Grogu.
Yeah.
I think that because there's a lot of stuff to take account of right now. I think the next season will be more about like Bo-Katan being like, all right, let's bring Mandalore back. And he's like, I don't like, again, it'll be kind of like your hero's journey, like more traditionally where it's like the refusal, the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, the meeting of the mentor, the blah, 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 And I think that'll be much more him becoming the king and ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do we do now? And there'll be more. Oh man, here he is.
When you see him on the cameras, and obviously it's Luke, but when he comes out with the green saber, then there's absolutely. I mean, it's already pretty. It's a slam dunk. It's the X-wing, but like in the black robes. But when you see the green, it's like, what they do? Like I don't know. For me, I was like, oh my god. It was like
no way. This shot here, it was like no way.
Oh, and then he uses his right hand, which is robotic. So when you see that, you're like, fuck. Also, I think Christian said it before, but Luke's the only Jedi to wear black.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe the duality of his father and mother. Or I don't know, maybe why does he wear black? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also interesting too, because isn't there something
I think Bo-Katan should have died on that kind of thing.
That blah 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 blah.
Yeah, where Moff Gideon he's like, oh man, I got a gun. He's gonna hide it, and then he shoots, and he for some reason he goes for Bo-Katan, and I think I was like, okay, I get it.
She's dead.
She's gonna be dead, and then Din is gonna have to be the reluctant hero, or Jin is gonna have to be the reluctant hero, and that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
In a sense, like now there's no doubt, like he possesses the Darksaber. He is the leader of Mandalore.
There's no one to challenge his.
Yeah.
There's no one who wants the thing that he has. And
I wish they just killed her.
I mean, but they
in a sense, but now it's gonna set up some good conflict.
But
I think.
See,
otherwise.
now we've got there's Bo-Katan, who wants to be the ruler of Mandalore. He's got the Darksaber. Gina Carano's character is like she's in possession of Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon's not dead at the end of this, and
you seen all the Gina Carano stuff online?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean,
it's
bad hot takes from her, but I don't know. Let her do her thing, I guess. Like she's,
but if she's spreading misinformation, it's like shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but I think like the reaction is also just making her do it more.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a shitty self-fulfilling thing. But I don't know. Apparently all the castmates are like supportive of her or like.
Well,
her.
And that's like where she did like something when she was making fun of like the saying your pronouns.
Oh, well, that's.
And it's like, why would you make fun of that? Why would you shit on that? If like that's an important thing, like let
it's important to people.
It doesn't fucking like it doesn't affect you.
Elon Musk jumped in on that train. I'm more so talking about like the Corona stuff.
Yeah. But apparently Pedro Pascal talked with her about that and was like, hey, listen, here's some stuff. And she was like, Pedro talked to me. He told me that it's important to people and how it makes them feel. So I apologize. But it's just fun. It's just funny because, you know, I don't know. Pedro Pascal.
She could lose her job over it. I mean, if she thinks that way or feels that way, I mean, I guess that's her. I hope someone educates her and she learns and she is a compassionate person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You're outwardly just jeopardizing your job too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like what? Oh my gosh, Luke fucking Skywalker right here. God,
so cool. I was like, see, before he reveals his face, I'm like, oh my god, is it going to be CGI or is it going to be Sebastian Stan lookalike?
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, it's CGI.
Yep.
And then it's like, it's not terrible.
It's not bad, but it's bad when he speaks.
It's not as bad, and it's like they did themselves favor by putting him in sort of like shadow.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit, or I think he steps into more shadow later. But it's still not there, guys.
Yeah.
Like what it comes down to is like, you know, having Grand Moff Tarkin was one thing, and that was like, sometimes this is fine, but most of the time this is something that I don't want to look at.
Yeah.
And then the poor Leia stuff, where it's just like,
well, it's just crazy to me. The YouTube special effects channels do a better job. It's like, how? What is going on here, Disney ILM? Like, you guys are the Star Wars ILM. Like, you are the special effects. Like, you created special, not really, but like,
well, yeah.
In a sense, you push the envelope like no other. Why can't you get this right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Social Network. I mean,
with the
two Army Hammers.
But that is two Army Hammers, so that is different. They didn't paste his face on. He did the scene twice.
They had a stand-in.
So they had like a stand-in that was like digitally marked up.
They did some stuff.
They did some stuff, yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was the only way
on some scenes.
But for the most part, for a lot of like the acting stuff, and when he's talking, especially, like that's Armie Hammer. But also, that's David Fincher.
Yeah.
And do you think that David Fincher is gonna allow anything like this in his shit? He's so meticulous. Oh my god! So we're watching Grogu caress Pedro Pascal's face.
Because like, I'm not a parent, and clearly there's some parent things that you could relate to. I'm sure.
Yeah, but you have a dog.
But there's also like pet stuff I'm relating to. And it's like, no, like Grogu's like a very sentient, intelligent being. He's not a pet. But there's definitely.
But for the most part, they have an unspoken relationship. Like
I think
they
that's why it's relatable, like a dog. Obviously, an infant you don't really speak to, or they don't speak to you.
Yeah.
But I think that's where it feels pet-like.
Yeah.
In terms of the unspoken love. You got fucking R2.
R2 pops in there, says, "Hey, what's up? Hello."
I just love the fact that like Grogu has this little, and like him and R2 kind of have a little exchange, and it's so cute.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's very satisfying for as much shit as I'll give the CGI. You know, it's still like, it's still very satisfying for them to take that swing.
Yeah.
You know, I would say it's not a home run, it's like a triple. And
in terms of the special effects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, or the whole like having Luke there, it's like, you guys did it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think a home run would be like
a 3 RBI.
Yeah, it's like
triple.
It's like you drove. Yeah, you drive in all the bases. It bounces in. Maybe it's like you get and
then you steal home.
You're definitely winning the game.
Yeah,
but it's like not as concrete as it could have been if they had. But again, if they had Sebastian Stan, and then like, what are the other options? Do they dub in Mark Hamill's voice? Do they have Sebastian Stan try and do Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker voice or whatever?
I don't know. And
it's like, or what do you? I don't know. What do you do?
I mean, the long-term answer is not the deep faking.
Yeah, but again, it's not a long-term. It's not a long-term answer. It's clearly they're doing the deep fake, so it's like, yeah, all right, this is Luke. You know,
it's just like,
which will be silly if in the future they're like, hey, actually, hey, Sebastian.
Well, they want to make money.
This is true.
And Luke, if they can figure out how to bring Luke back, they will.
Yeah.
And if they can figure out how to make another trilogy tied to the saga, they will.
Yeah.
Another theory, like my brother-in-law was saying, was maybe the next trilogy will be set in the future enough where Grogu's like a teenager, like 100 years in the future from this point. So more like 50 years after the sequels.
Yeah.
And then Grogu comes back in somehow, and we have a really old Rey or something. I don't know.
Huh. I think, but yeah. And I think too, I don't know. I have literally no idea, like where it could go.
Which is great.
Yeah. I hope that it goes.
Do you think
someplace interesting?
Do you think there'll be a fall off of viewership for the lack of Baby Yoda things? Because there's definitely people out there who just like seeing him, and that's why they watch the show.
You know,
and I
am not one of those people.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not saying
no, I know,
are.
But it's just like there's some points.
I mean, hopefully people bought in because it's a good story. But I guess the story's kind of wrapped up.
Yeah.
In terms of a 2-season arc.
Yeah.
So now we got a new arc.
They got him off, and the thing is, it's just very satisfying.
Yeah.
That it's like we start with the thing and we like grow, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, how is this gonna shape up? This is gonna grow, and it's like, it is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And there he is.
I mean, I don't think you can cap off his story arc more than that. And to me, that's, at least I agree with you. Like, maybe I don't think we'll see Grogu this season or season 3. Season. And I think he'll also be a dangling fruit for a big reveal.
Yeah.
In a later season, maybe in the finale of season 3.
I think that it might be. I think that they might do something similar where we've got 2 seasons of like the rise of Mandalore or something like that, depending on how long they want to go with stuff. So we could have like 2 seasons of the rise of Mandalore, and then our 5th season, which should probably be the final season.
I might be making this up, but I think they're set on 5 seasons.
5 seasons is a good number.
I could be pulling that out of my ass, but that's a good. I mean, that's what Breaking Bad did, and
I think they did 6.
It was 5, but the 5th season was 2 8 episode chunks.
Okay. Well,
5A
then
and 5B,
and then sort of, I don't know how much time we got on, but like sort of seamlessly transitioning, as I've been watching the Sopranos for the first time.
My sister and brother-in-law watched
So
that, and I
fucking
need
good.
to. I'm in a Rome kick right now.
Yeah, I get you, dude. Sometimes you're like, hey, sword and sandals.
Yeah. I mean, so I finished up Rome. I feel like I brought it up earlier, but now I'm watching Spartacus, which is like Western anime.
Yeah.
Almost mixed with smut. It's such a weird show. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
There's just so much tits and ass and blood and gore and like hyper masculine stuff. Like it's just
well, it's so.
What's going on in here?
So you're watching The Sopranos too. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like they're like home base or one of their like offices is just in a strip club.
Oh,
so there's like
always.
one scene where he's like his mom. He's on the phone with his mom, and she like is making some mushrooms or something like that, and the mushrooms catch on fire, and his mom's having like a dementia attack.
Jesus.
And all the while he's on the phone with his mom, be like, "Ma, call the fire department." And then in the background, there's just naked
boobies.
ladies, just kind of gently gyrating. They're like, yeah.
Well, that was that era of.
And then they ask you like, "Is your mom okay?" He's like, and it's just they're just there and they're just naked, and it doesn't have anything to do with what's going on, and they're just there working, doing the thing.
HBO had that reputation for a while, and you could tell that like the story, like sexposition even.
Yeah.
From Game of Thrones, and the Game of Thrones
Sex
nudity.
Position. Sorry, go ahead.
Did I say it wrong?
No. Sex position, like exposition
Yeah.
with yeah.
But the nudity falls off in that show.
Yeah.
And I think that's more or less a directive initiative, a conscious choice of the network.
Yeah.
And not the showrunners, because HBO. I mean, it has nudity still, but like watching old HBO and new HBO.
Yeah.
It's so different because like there was always nudity. There was always an excuse for it.
Yeah.
And Stars still has that.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. Highlander or Outlander.
Yeah.
That show, it's in there all the time. It's I guess it's interesting to analyze, I guess.
No, it's definitely deep, like directly connected to where people were like, hey, maybe this isn't necessary.
Yeah. Or it's like they needed a reason, I guess, to get people to buy that subscription.
Yeah.
Via a cable or satellite TV thing, which is already kind of an extra hassle or a lot of money for the package.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game. Where today, that barrier to entry and just the fact that streaming is a thing, you don't have to have tits and ass and very adult themes.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's everywhere now.
Yeah. And you can just kind of focus on
the
story of it.
And if there's a time where you need nudity. Which
is so funny, too, because, like, it's definitely not really necessary for The Sopranos, because it's just kind of there.
Yeah. Probably the best example. Like, that was one of the biggest shows, the first shows.
Yeah, that was one of the, like, beginning, I think, The Sopranos and then The Wire. I think is the.
I need to watch The Wire.
I haven't watched The Wire yet either.
I watched the first episode. I was like, "That's pretty good," and then I never kept watching it. But yeah, if The Wire, that's where that she guy comes from.
She. Wow, what is that?
From The Wire. When the guy says that.
Oh, okay.
That's where that came from, or I'm sure it's existed, but in terms of popular media, that character said it, and so there's memes of it and stuff.
Gotcha.
But my watching has not been great because I have watched those shows. That's been eating all the time. But I did watch Ace Attorney. It's like a Japanese live action of a Japanese video game.
Huh.
Very interesting, very weird movie because they try to replicate the way the video game is.
Yeah.
I almost recommend it just because it's so weird.
That's how I watched Polar 2. Not Polar 2, Polar as well.
Oh, is that Japanese?
It's a Mads Mikkelsen. It's based on a comic book or a graphic novel, and man, that movie is wild. It's kind of like John Wick weirder.
Okay. And it's Japanese?
It's not Japanese.
Oh, okay.
It's American. Oh. But it had that same sort of like it's definitely, you can tell that it's a graphic novel because it's shot really weird, and it's like they definitely are. They're not like shy. It's not shying away from the fact that it's from like a graphic novel. They're like,
okay.
They got some weird fucking costumes. They got some weird setups for things. The characters are very like, you know how in where it's like, this is the sniper guy, so he's got all the sniper gear and he has one of his eyes cut and he's like this is a sniper, you know. And so it's just like,
I want to watch it. I'm intrigued.
It's not a good movie. It is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I am still not decided yet whether or not I liked it or not, or if I just enjoyed it. You know?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Is enjoyment.
Yeah.
As a measurement.
Yeah.
I also watched Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one
on Christmas. Yeah, so we'll talk about that.
I watch that on Christmas as well.
What are the chances?
What are the chances? The only it's like that's like a family tradition as we go see a movie. For Christmas days, we go see a movie in theaters.
I'm glad that existed in that sense for that reason.
But it's like
you could have gone to theaters if you wanted to, if your region allowed it. But I miss the movies. It's been
oh my gosh,
at least 8 months.
I'm trying to think of the last movie I saw in theaters.
I guess I could. I actually track them.
I could.
Oh man, I miss it. Like the sound design is so good. I don't have a great sound setup. I'd invest in one, but I just don't want to right now. Let's see if I can find it.
I like not being in charge of the volume. Like this is the volume that it's supposed to be, and like you get like accustomed to it. Whereas like at home you can like doop, 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 I'll just turn it down here.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I did not see that in theaters.
No, I didn't. Wait, no, I don't think so. Birds of Prey or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Huh. What did I see in theaters last? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
Damn. Well,
Knives Out maybe? Which was like
that was last
in January.
Christmas. It felt like last Christmas. Well,
I don't think that's true.
What would you give the Mandalorian season 2? I'd give it 5 out of 5 on a TV scale. On a show enjoyment scale.
Yeah,
I'm not rating it as a cinema or art.
I'll give it
but it is art and cinema.
I'll give it 5 pieces of Beskar out of 6. Just out of petulance, not giving it 100%. I'll give it a 5.75 pieces of Beskar because he took off his shoulder pad. He took off his shoulder piece in the thing with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then he never got it back, and it would have been so easy for him to just get it back.
Those kind of things always give me so much anxiety. It's like, you need it back. You're going to get it back, though, right?
Just get that back. It's just right there. Yeah. And I'm glad that they were like, hey, we're going to give him his jetpack back because he took his jetpack off.
That was by far one of my least favorite moments of this season. That was so stupid. That was such a plot thing.
Yeah.
Like he can't travel fast, so we need a reason for him to put his thing down.
Yeah.
They're like, no guns. And he's like, well, I guess my jetpack's a gun, so I'll take it off.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
That was like, but I'm glad that they put it back on him.
Yeah.
Because that was like a big thing at the end of the first season whenever he got his jetpack on.
Yeah. I mean, the ship getting destroyed, did that make you sad? Did you build a relationship with the Razor Crest over the last 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sad.
I was like, man. But it was
that was the most Game of Thrones thing they did in that show.
Yeah, where they're just like, ha, here it is.
I will say, I love watching a show and not having the creators fuck with you and subvert everything and just make you feel like shit.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you cared about this character? I'm going to kill him!
Yeah, so it's nice. But as they say in Mandalore,
it is the way. This is the way?
Yeah, I think that's what they say. But yeah, guys, check us out in all the places.
Yeah.
Stinky Podcast. Email us if you want to email us.
Comment on the video. Tell us what we should watch next.
What's your favorite episode of the season?
Yeah.
Favorite moment, favorite cameo?
How frustrated were you whenever Grogu was eating all those ladies' eggs and wiping out her entire species?
Yeah. Well, I was just like, I don't want to deal with the consequences of this. I want to move on from this character.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but I don't want her to be like, what
this
the
isn't
fuck?
this isn't that funny of a beat.
Yeah.
This isn't that funny of a beat for me.
I mean, he's cute doing it. I guess that was cute.
And I guess it's kind of goofy, but it's also like, please stop fucking eating her fucking unfertilized eggs.
That's such a weird decision. Anyways.
This is the way. We love you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah. In a couple days.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.